All right. It says we're live there. Let me check my YouTube. What's happening over here? We gone live over at YouTube. So we're looking good. So welcome to Rick's Life as I See It. The one and only Wednesday edition. And I want to say thank you all for being here. And I tell you what, I got to come up with a new opening like I used to have before. You know, I got to think about that, how I'm going to say it. Anyway, let me introduce I only got one panelist at the moment, and that's New York Outcast. How you doing?
Doing all right. Thanks for having me. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Okay, great. Now, problem is, wait. Here we go. Here we go. People are starting to pop in now. Because YouTube is a few minutes behind StreamYard and notification and shit. I don't even know if StreamYard notifies anybody, but all I know is when YouTube comes on, everybody gets notified that I'm live. So, all right. Let's see. First in the room tonight was AR Patriot, 1776. Then Kingpin. Then Chris from the 740. That's it. That's all we got. Pretty slow pickings right now. You know, unfortunately.
All right, day 19.
What's happening? I can't. God damn it. Yankee Marshall, what's he doing on here?
One of my best ones.
There we go. I wasn't even watching him. Now, how in the hell that happened, I don't know.
You're gonna get sued now.
Yeah. But there we go. Took care. That was on my phone. That was blasted. That's what I'm saying. I wasn't even watching him. So how in the hell that happened, I don't know. Anyway, 2 Live Moves joined us, so that's good. All right. So, welcome, Raphael. I told you they're all coming in now. YouTube it's got to be. I got to time it one day, but it's got to be at least 3 minutes difference. It seems like. But anyway, I got myself a list today. It's got a couple of more items than last week's, you know. So it's just that I'm not going to mention politics except for one item, and it can't happen fast enough. Is notification? Now Mitch McConnell says he's stepping down as the head honcho of the Republican Party in the Senate. You know, but basically he's given up when they come back in January after the Christmas and New Year. So when whoever the president happens to be, we will have a new leader in the Senate. So there we go. That's it. That's all I wanted to mention. I said he's never been a champion of mine anyway. And he's always gave in on every goddamn thing. You know, instead of saying, give us this and we'll give you that. It's, yeah, we'll give it to you. The Democrats said they would do that for us and get the Democrats to do it first. Then put the vote in. Is how I would do it, but maybe that's why I'm not in politics. Anyway, that's the end of my politic rant. So I don't want to get too carried away. So no, okay. I was listening to some of the bump stock the oral arguments today in Supreme Court. That's going to be a close call, because it's not really, they're not arguing bump stocks as a Second Amendment issue. They're arguing, did the ATF have the right to do that? You know, expand the definition of a machine gun without approval of Congress. That's what it's basically about. And I think from what I've been listening to and reading and trying to decipher it, it's it all comes down to Roberts and Kavanaugh. Is that how you pronounce his name? Which way they go?
Yep, I believe so.
Yeah, it's down to those two. Basically, and we'll see. I mean, I've told you my theory. I don't think that personally, if machine guns were legal, you wouldn't need a goddamn bump stock. There wouldn't even be a market for them. So, but that's neither here nor there right now.
Maybe we could trick them and tell them just we'll get rid of the NFA and they can have the bump stocks.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's worth a shot. Hey, I would do it. I know Mitch McConnell wouldn't, but I would throw it out there. But,
just vote on it and we'll read it later type of thing.
That's right. It's too big right now. Just vote on it. We can read it at our leisure.
Oh.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. So what I want to know is, are they going to make Jerry Michalak pay a $200 fee for his finger? Because he can pull an AR-15 faster than a bump stock can. You ever watched him? It's unbelievable how fast he can pull the trigger. But that's that's semantics, I guess.
Yeah. Revolver records he's throwing out there. Some of those, it's pretty damn impressive.
It's mind baffling, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, because I was watching him, he was using an AR, and I think I can't remember. He had, was it 3 targets or 4 targets? He was doing. They were targets or like he was doing 2 to the body, 1 to the head. I think it was 4 or it was 3, but he done it in less than 3 seconds. Hit them all. You know what I'm saying? It's unreal. So anyway, that's beside the point. So that was, we'll see. I mean, Whatchamacallit had a good point here. Vanessa in the chat, she said, can the government really ban gun parts? Technically, no. But this is an anti-gun government. And the scary part is, even though it's who's ever in the White House, they never seem to cancel anything. You know what I'm saying? They if the Democrats done something, I can't see the Republicans canceling it. I mean, look how many agents we got now. Has any party canceled any of them? I mean, you got me on politics. How in the hell did I get on this? I mean, look how many national security, secret agent bullshit we got. Everybody knows you got the CIA and the FBI and, a couple of others out there. The, what's the other one? The National, is it called National? Something, it's another agent, 3-letter agency. Can't think of it on top of my head. NSA. That's what I was thinking of. I mean, that's the 3 main ones, but there's loads more. Do we really need all these agents, federal agents, doing the same job? And I'm not helping you because you're a different agency than me, and the person they're trying to get gets away because they're fucking bickering to each other. It's a bunch of crap. But anyway, see, you got me going, and I'm stopping. I ain't talking politics.
Well, you might not believe this, but the public total is 18 of those agencies.
That doesn't surprise me. But where I was going with that is, each administration has created one of these new agencies, but when the next administration takes over the White House, you don't see them saying, well, we're going to get rid of that one. We're going to get rid of that one. They stay, and they cost millions and billions of dollars a year to run. It's I'm reading a book right now. Well, not I'm not reading it. I'm listening to it because I use Audible, so it's an audio book. It's actually talking about that. It's about secret agent shit, and it's fiction. The story is fiction, but I can see this actually happening in real life, right? The CIA, before they became the CIA, they what? They were OSS or something like that. Their title was, what's his name? The gold that Japanese general hid in the Philippines, right? This is in the story that I'm reading, that the American government, there were 75 caches of gold spread around the mountain in the Philippines. I know there was gold buried there. I mean, that's a true fact by that general. But in the story is they only found 2 vaults. There was meant to be 75 different vaults with gold in each one. They only found 2, but it was worth, in today's market, it's worth about $4 billion, right? And the CIA took it and deposited it into a bank in Luxembourg. And that's what they use for their slush fund.
This book give out latitude and longitude by any chance?
No. But no, honestly, there is people, you have to get permission from them. They even said, what's his name found a couple of those vaults. That president, who was it, Marco or whatever his name was, of the Philippines? He was president for 20 odd years or whatever. They said that's where some of his money come from. He found some of the gold. But you got to get permission from the Philippines government to search for the gold. It's there. It's booby trapped and stuff. That's why they don't want people to go out there and search for it. But it's just buried in the hillside. You know? Oh yeah, it's a known fact the Japanese did that after just before the the Philippines fell. So there you go. But what I'm saying is, I can actually see our government doing shit like that, stashing money away. Because far as the world knows, that gold's never been found. So if the U.S. government found it and they stashed it in some bank somewhere to fund their little secret agents and topple governments, how in the hell would the American people know? I know it's all fiction. It's plausible is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, it's it's known too that there's black funding in a sense. So I'm sure it's not since abnormal. How things are done may be different places or whatever, but I wouldn't say abnormal in any way. So
yeah, but in this story I'm reading, I haven't got very far yet, but in this story, one of the CIA operatives was tasked to go into the bank and just to make sure the gold is still there where they got it in this vault inside this bank, 2 floors underground. He got in there, all the alarms went off, but the vault is empty. All the gold is gone. And the bank said there was never any gold here because the U.S. government didn't leave a paper trail because they didn't want the American people to find out they had it. So the bank said, well, show me the paperwork that we had your gold. That's where I'm at in the story so far. So I don't know what's going to happen.
That makes me think of, Fort Knox or whatever. There's been several cases where people have tried to put eyes on their holdings. And, from what I hear, you got to wait quite a long time, do an appointment. They only show you, I forgot what it was, 10% or something. Yeah. It just seems like a funny setup, like.
Yeah.
You would think, people would be able to come in, verify their accounts, purity, stuff like this. And I don't know. It seems like they're real funny about letting people see stuff. So it's kind kind of a weird thing. Makes you wonder what's really going on.
Is there any gold in?
Yeah, or is it the same piles getting cycled around? You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree with you. It's but what it's basically, I don't trust the government. I watched a movie that was made back in 2017. Don't know if you ever saw it. It was called Unlocked. It was about this. I think she was British born, but she was an American, and she worked for the CIA. But something went wrong. Some bomb went off in Paris, and 24 people died. And she blamed herself for it because she didn't get the info fast enough to do it. And so she wanted to get out of field work. So the CIA put her in with MI5, working as a social worker with the Muslim community in England. Well, it turns out there's a double cross going on, right? Somebody in the CIA went rogue, and he got her back in and was using her to get information out of this guy they kidnapped. She got the information, and she found out that it wasn't sanctioned. So then they tried to kill her. She killed all of them. Then all hell broke loose. Damn good movie. But where I'm going with, you can't trust the U.S. government. It's a shame, but that is the truth. You know, you can't trust. I mean, don't get me wrong. Even down, I was telling to my buddy this morning, you know, if a policeman pulls me over, you know, and he's not basically rude to me, I'm going to say yes sir, no sir to him. Right? Thank you, sir. I mean, on my way, I'm just polite. But I don't trust the police force whatsoever. I know that's bad. I'm tarring every goddamn policeman out there with the same brush. Right? I know there's good policemen out there. You know, but unfortunately, I've seen more. I mean, I watched earlier today. I watched the actual one of the videos of the acorn hitting the top of the roof. They actually showed it in slow motion where it hit the top of the roof of the car. And I mean, he does a double flip. Paul comes up and empties a magazine into the car. Then somewhere along the line, he goes, I'm hit. Then the cop across the street, who happened to be a woman, was taking information from the woman's car, who she said her boyfriend stole or whatever. She hears him screaming, his head gunfire, and hear him screaming, I'm shot, or I'm hit. So she comes running down the street, pulls her gun, and she unloads a magazine into the car. It's amazing that guy didn't die inside. You know what? It's amazing they didn't hit each other in the crossfire. They were shooting at each other with the car in the middle. You know, I was watching the video. It's like, Jesus.
Now imagine how I feel when I'm in my 95 on the side of the road with two officers behind me and the truck backfires. No, I'm kidding. Shit.
Yeah. But, you know, I watched that and I thought, what? I mean, that was down in Florida, of course. You know, but, you know, I said, I don't trust police. And I've said this so many times on here. I'm only on some watch list anyway. When I lived in Rhode Island, I saw that police force and they're practicing at the gun range. And it was pathetic. You know, what amazes me, I mean, I don't know what guns they're carrying. I didn't look that close, but most firearms have 15 to 17 rounds in them when they're using the 9 mils. So let's call 15. They each emptied a magazine into the damn vehicles. That's 30 rounds went into that vehicle. Hopefully. What happened? Did they all hit the vehicle? Or did they ping off the road and go and hit somebody else's wall in their house or some shit? You know? Makes you wonder, don't it?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to share that information.
No, but it's well, anyway. That's anyway. I said I was. How did we get? Oh, talking about trust. Yeah. So I don't trust the government, and that's the bottom line. You know, and in today's world, if you're not carrying, guys, you need to. Honestly, the world the way it is today. I mean, look, I'm not saying they're all bad people, but they're all criminals because they all broke the law. They come to this country illegally. But 7.2 million illegal immigrants or aliens or whatever you want, undocumented people, right, in this country that we know of, right? What about all the ones that came across that nobody ever saw them? You know what I'm saying? And with all them, I mean, you look at the news every day. Yeah, the big cities are running out of money because they're trying to house all these people. I mean, Indianapolis here in Indiana got some of those migrants there that they're trying to house and shit. Where I'm going with this is, even out here in the middle of nowhere where I'm at, how do you know you ain't got a car? And the majority of those people coming across the border are young single males, fighting age. How do you know that they ain't cruising around in a car somewhere? That's what I'm saying to everybody. That's why you need to carry and practice. You know?
Pretty sure some have come here. I've heard they have, and I've also seen an area where buses have been pulling up lately that they don't normally pull up, and then there's all types of clothing and like just bags of stuff just all over the place.
Oh yeah.
And I've only seen one group of people, and they fit the profile. You know, I don't want to profile, but they fit the image. I can't state for sure or not. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure they're getting spread around, you know, pretty heavily anywhere, especially if you're one of them sanctuary things or whatever the hell.
One of those sanctuary cities or states or whatever, yeah.
Shit like that. Yeah, they're blending in. So I haven't, you know, I avoid like downtown, all that type of stuff where I guess a lot of the shelter things are or whatnot. So I don't know. You know, what it's like out there, but I wouldn't be surprised at all. So
Tony York said, "You open your home to them, outcast."
No, I keep my doors locked. So honestly, you know, there's Americans I'm worried about just wandering in my house. So it's happened a couple times when doors aren't locked. So
yeah, and that's another thing is the way I might start using that line again when I open my show. But I used to say, "Welcome from the crossroads of America." The amount of highways that come across this state is unreal. But as I mentioned this before, we got the major highway, 64, is it? Like in the state? I think that's the number of it. From Louisville to Indianapolis is only 25 minutes down the road to the first through an exit from me. You know what I'm saying? So ain't no telling what kind of people you get traveling up here in the rural America. You know? I'm just saying. But anyway, but that was why I was saying you need to carry. If you're not carrying, guys, you need to. If your state, I think every state allows carry, don't they? In one form or another. You know, it might be hard to get a carry license, but I believe the only state I know that doesn't actually issue any is Hawaii. But you know, if you're able to get a carry license, you need to. Because I'm not going to tell you to carry illegally. If you're stopped with a gun in a state that you're carrying illegally, you could be in worse trouble than if you shot somebody. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but if it's possible, I suggest carrying it. And I'm not saying get training, even though I think it's a good thing, but practice, practice, practice. Even do what I do. If you can't shoot live rounds, like the dry fire, I use a laser. Yes, you don't get the recoil, but it gets you aiming better. Because when I started, because I hadn't used it for a long time, I didn't realize how far off I was hitting. But now that I can hit what I'm aiming at now with that laser, and that brings me on to one of my other topics here. I think we talked about this once a couple of years ago, but I feel that close up shooting, sort of like within 10 yards, 7 yards and closer to you. I haven't done it, but I've done it with the laser and I'm pretty proficient, but I'm going to try it live fire, is actually pointing it at the target without aiming and pulling, like the old cowboys done. Point like you're pointing a finger and pull the, and see if I hit the target. Because I think if it's a close attack, which they say most attacks are within 7 yards and under. Have you really got time to pull your shirt up, pull the gun out, go up with both hands to pull the trigger, or just pull out and bang, because every millisecond counts in that situation. I'm just saying. So I'm gonna start once I go shooting. I plan on going over my buddies shooting again when the weather starts. Hopefully this coming weekend when it starts warming up again. I more like won't go to the following Monday shoot or something. I don't like going over Saturday the weekend when his wife's home and shit, But when I do go out there and practice, I'm gonna practice some of that close. But the problem is shooting at I better just use a paper target, because going 7 yards and under with still target is getting a bit risky there. Don't you think? Could get some
yeah, like you got some of those frangibles or something. I mean, that's probably, I don't know. Well, do what you like to do. I think it'd be advised against, you know what I mean? But everybody's different, so probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
For a rule.
I mean, I got paper targets, but it's not. I just like the sound of still. But
and you're trying to see exactly where you're hitting too. Paper.
So paper target might be better for that.
Yeah, definitely better for that. So I know I shoot steel probably a little closer than what people say you should or whatever.
Well, I do too. But 7 yards and in is a bit too
my own grip. So
I mean, I've shot still, 10, 12 yards, and have I had any splatter back? Yes, but not enough to do any damage or anything. You know what I'm saying? You could feel it every now and then, maybe tug on my jean leg. You know what I'm saying? But it does happen, but not that often. So, but 7 yards and in, I don't think I'm going to try it. And so anyway, going paper target, but I'm going to try that. Just pulling the gun out of the holster and shooting at the target. See how good I am. That's going to be. I'm going to try to throw that into when I go shooting. Because when I go shooting, I do try to have a system. I'm trying to do this today. I might end up in the end just blasting away just for fun, but it's like this show. I start off with a list. Doesn't mean I stick to it. I start off with an idea in my head what I'm going to do when I go and shoot at my friend's house. I have a plan. Whether we stick to it or not, it's another story. But that's that. I'm going to try to throw that into my routine of, pull, point and shoot and see what happens. So there we go. That's another thing I'm adding.
Good. So it's good to work on different things or whatever. So
yeah,
and I think everybody should probably work on that. So I mean, I think a lot of people do that carry for concealed carry. You would think, but because that's kind of important. Not that you got to be the fastest person out there, but
no,
I'm sure that you need to be.
No, I'm more. I mean, as they always said, you don't have to be fast. You just have to hit the target. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like they said, normally the fastest guy always missed on the first shot. Because he was too
fast is good, but accuracy is final.
Yes, that's right. And hey, if Patriot in the dark can shoot by just pointing his finger, I'm sure I can too.
No, that's different, man. That's different. Telling you, I did that video years ago now, trying to shoot at a smoke detector, and that, man, you'd think I was using a machine gun looking at the target. Finally hit it, but I don't remember how many rounds it took. More than I'd want to admit. I mean, I'm sure I put it in a video, but that's harder than I would think, harder than it sounds. And from my testing and stuff, I've got basically better sight and hearing than the average person. So on average, that's got to be pretty goddamn hard to do. So
Oh yeah. Oh, I would imagine it is too. But I said I'm going to
use a tone in your something.
Yeah. But I'm definitely going to practice. The close range, 7 yards and in. Just pointing and shooting.
Yeah.
I'm
but
doing
pointing where you see your target and shooting.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's way different than not being able to see and just shooting at a sound target.
Absolutely.
That's a whole nother ball game.
Oh yeah. So, but I said I plan on. I said I'm going to do that and see how that goes. I mean, I said with the old laser, I can do it, and say out of 5 goes, I'll hit the target 3 times. So I'm getting better. That's the key. Is improving. So there we go. Moving on. What's next? Oh yeah, I know you don't do this, but is it just me? Is it just this area, or is it nationwide? Back to shortages on reloading stuff. Large rifle primers. I can believe it or not, I can find. I mean, they're not shelves and shelves of them, but I can get small rifle primers. I can get the pistol primers, but large rifle primers. I mean, they're like gold dust right now, especially in this area. I don't know if it's like that everywhere. I know you don't reload, so you can't answer that one.
Can't give you any help on that one.
No,
no idea.
There's any reloaders out in the chat listening. If they're having trouble with large rifle primers. I don't need any because I don't have a firearm that uses large rifle. But my buddy where I go shooting at, he does. So that's he said he's been looking. He said I can't find any for love or money. He goes. Tony says I'll sell you some, Rick, at a buck each. Well, be honest with you, if you can find them down in this area, that's basically how much they're costing. For one of those little boxes of 100, it's costing $100, $1 a piece for a goddamn primer. That's outrageous. I mean, at that rate, you might as well buy ammo. So anyway, I was just curious. So Tony has some, but Tony always had a backup. He didn't even feel the shortages a couple of years ago. So let's see. What am I talking about here? What did we talk about? We talked about bun stocks. I just mentioned large rifle primers. We got on to Mitch McConnell. We talked about that. Shooting close range. We talked about that. And we're getting near the bottom of my list, and we still got 25 minutes to go. So I hope you got something to talk about. I just happen. I mean, I guess it is another political item, really, per se. But I didn't even read the article. I just read the headline as I was skimming just before I went live. Well, just before I sent out the email and shit. Minnesota put a bill, or is trying to ban lead ammunition in the state. You know, I mean, Minnesota, I don't know. Which way does it lean? You know?
Yeah.
If the climate people and the tree huggers have their way, it would be banned. You know? But I don't see.
They're talking all ammunition?
Yeah, all lead ammunition.
Yeah.
Made with lead.
I think they do some of this stuff for like hoping that in 10 years, 15 years, things will be set up where, they can be like, oh, well, we pushed for it before, and, they can try to get it through with somebody. So some of this stuff is kind of ridiculous, at least my opinion, but I don't know. So, what do they call it? Predictive programming, whatever. But, they're always throwing up bills that just seem, in my opinion, some of them, like they to somebody that's doesn't even study it, like, just seems completely unconstitutional. I don't understand what they're, why they're wasting our money and time.
Because they can.
Basically, yeah, that's what it seems like. So
yeah. I mean, as I said, if I was a politician, I would definitely try to pass a federal law, that all these people who do this, right, they use their own money, not taxpayers' money, to fight a case. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if it's deemed to be, the waste of our time, unconstitutional, whatever, then it's out your funds personally to reimburse the taxpayer for the waste of time.
Yeah.
That would probably stop the majority of it.
I bet it would too. So, all right. We touched on that. That's about my list done. I tried to have a list for the whole half hour. With only me and you here, it's sort of, the time it's taken to go through these, having a third or fourth person throw their 2 cents in, is it went by quicker than I was anticipating. I thought, I was hoping that was here. Squib.
Yeah, the old panelists are slackers or something. I don't know. Yeah, they're just letting you down over here, man. It's bad.
Yeah. Oh, Tony York says there are legit studies on wildlife being harmed by lead ammo, eating it, not getting killed by it. Yeah. I mean, I can see where you're coming from on that, but is it really? But yeah, I don't want to see any animal suffer, per se. But
what would that be compared to, like, choking on bottle caps or cigarette butts or all this other shit people do?
No, that's what I was trying to. I was trying to come up with something in my head.
Yeah, lead's natural. I mean, in a sense. So I mean, there's going to be a percentage of lead, out and about anyway. So, is it comparable, or is it just because it's a gun thing? You know what I mean? Because I'm betting it's probably more likely because it's a gun thing. Yeah, busted glass, people's trash everywhere, stuff like that. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, look at the side of the highways or the road. I can't speak for your areas. Maybe they're nice, but here it's like people just empty their trash out wherever the hell they feel like
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
busted bottles in the street everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
even out
Those,
in the
those
woods, people
plastic
drive out
tabs.
and just dump their trash out in the woods. Like it's,
Yeah. Those
eh,
plastic tabs that hold 6-packs together.
yeah, yeah.
And animals get trapped in those.
Well, I mean, I think man, does a lot worse than you know, animals eating
Yeah.
a little bit of lead.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know a lot of places, I think was it in Europe or somewhere that they banned lead for fishing? Is that all over here in the States on certain areas?
I couldn't tell you.
Because the fish were swallowing the lead and shit. So, I don't know. Lead shot has been banned here for 30 years, Tony says, for waterfowl. So there you go. Oh, well. But, I mean, I'm not saying I don't want to see an animal die of lead poisoning, but is it enough to, as you said, with all the other stuff going on, in the big scheme of things, is lead killing animals near the top of the list? I don't think so, to be honest with you. I think there's other things that man, as you said, throwing plastic out there, throwing all kinds of shit out there, is higher up on the list of killing animals than lead from lead bullets.
Yeah, vehicles, how many
Yeah.
incidents of roadkill? What about those windmill things chopping up the birds and all the dams, fish getting tore up in dams. There's all types of stuff we do. I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to justify it, but I'd love to see the numbers compared to other things because I'm betting it's probably way, 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 way down there.
Yeah.
It's almost like the gun thing. We want to focus on that. Well, everybody's killing themselves with freaking fast food, with convenience. Everything, you just hit a button and you order this, you order that. You don't get up for nothing anymore. Like, like the way society's being led, and they want to bitch about the least harmful things. It makes no sense. You should be more worried about your damn doctor than any of the other shit they're telling you about. Or heart disease, or whatever. You know what I mean? These are like the highest things going right now. But you don't hear them banning doctors or none of this shit, or better reform or something to do with medical school or any of this type. We don't hear none of that shit. All you hear is talk to your doctor about this on TV and every other freaking commercial and all this shit. So I don't know, man.
I don't either. But as Tony said, as he said, lead comes from the earth. I'm just returning it. That's a good way to think about it.
True. You go digging around, eating shit from the ground. You never know what you're going to get.
Oh, yeah. So, and I mean, animals have been shot with lead bullets since this country was founded or before, so I don't see the problem myself, but maybe I'm just cruel and a heathen and deplorable. So I don't know. Oh, anyway, let's see. What's time? 7:44. So hey, we only got 15 minutes to go. I can always nothing says I got to stay on here for an hour. If we run out of things to talk about, I can always end early. So
how your vehicle's doing?
Doing good. my truck's running great. No issues. I need to. I'm glad you mentioned that because I got to check the fluid tomorrow. I didn't do it today because it's too damn cold. I'm a fair weather car maintenance guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I checked mine 2 days ago.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to. I mean, if I had a leak or oil light came on or something, of course I'd check it in this cold. But I'm just going to check. I don't. None of them. I don't think any of them need topping up anyway. They're last time I didn't have any leaks last time I looked. So.
It's always good to keep an eye out on.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, in theory, you should check your fluids like once a week. Nobody really does.
No. I know you should. When I was young
about that, but most people don't.
When I was young and dumb, I used to.
Yeah, well, it's not. It's if you
I'm
have
not saying dumb,
you're gonna know quicker.
Yeah.
Obviously you have gauges and whatnot, but like anything, when you look at it enough, you know when something's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I used to check my fluids once a week when I was young. I mean, then again, I used to wash my car every week too.
Yeah.
Whether it needed it or not. You know what I'm saying? So normally when just before I washed the car, I would check all the fluids and stuff. So it was all ready to go. So Tony says I check my truck about every 5,000 miles. What happens if it's developed a leak between the 5,000 mile checks?
If it's something severe, like depending what the leak is, you'll get a light or warning, especially with newer vehicles. But still, it's just I don't know, good rule of thumb, I guess. And depending on your manufacturer or type of vehicle, sometimes everything's good till it's not. So I mean, some are known for that. So I don't know. Yeah, everybody does their thing or whatever, but preventative maintenance is usually much cheaper than on the side of the road maintenance.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Basically I do, check my oil, check my transmission fluid basically, and check my water and my radiator. That's about the 3 things I do. Keep them done and you normally will be okay.
Yeah.
So, but said the truck's running great. I said I don't go very far in it. So actually I think I'm doing it more damage. I think maybe I need to take it down the interstate and blow it out every now and then. Because I just potter from here to town. I'm lucky if I break 55.
Yeah, so it's good to have it. Use is better than letting it sit because hoses dry out, seals dry out, bearings want to seize up, brakes want to start sticking, crap like that. You build a lot of rust on your rotors, so it's good to definitely let it run and at least do what you're doing. So
I was thinking about it. I drive down here to my buddies. Bird's Eye's 4 miles. Is another mile to my friend's house. So basically, I do 5 miles there, 5 miles back. If I don't go to Jasper, so that's 10 miles a day. I don't see him that often on weekends. So basically, I'm doing 50 miles a week. Then occasionally, like if I have to go to Jasper to the doctors or something like that, you can add an extra, 20 miles on, So I'm lucky if I do 100 miles in a week. I really am. But as you said, the truck started every day. Is it run long enough to really? How long do you actually have to run your vehicle to recharge the juice you took out of it to start it? Any idea?
I would think not. Honestly, not that long if your alternator is good.
Because you're right. It can't be that long because, as I said, I do 10 miles a day. right?
Yeah.
And since I put the new one in, I've had no issues. So
Yeah. I mean, you shouldn't, in a sense. So yeah, I don't think, like I said, I don't think it really takes that long to get it charged. If it was almost dead, obviously it would take a little longer, but it's
yeah, I mean, because
how
basically
much can
it's fully
transfer
charged.
over, I
All
guess.
it's doing is topping itself back off again when I'm running down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just so yeah. So my
So what
vehicle.
about the pole out in the carport area there? What happened with that with the landlord and crap?
Oh, he put it. I told you he put a 2x4. He hammered a 2x4 under it to hold it up. But I didn't notice it at the time. That 2x4 he stuck up there isn't straight. It's got a slight tilt to it. So,
Mhm.
I mean, if it's putting pressure on it, I mean, it could slide out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 2x4 is really not ideal for something like that
I
anyway.
know, but he put it up there and said,
Yeah.
I'll be back tomorrow.
Then
And that was 2 weeks.
he's one of those landlords.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was kind of funny and embarrassing at the same time. I called him up about that. Then I had to call him about. I told you my AC here unit went, the one out back, and it happened to be the fan, right? And they fixed that. They came to. Well, I called them about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and they showed up the next morning to fix it. So, but then he had just fixed it and left, and I called the office again. I told you about my faucet outside. They said, "Yeah, don't use it. We'll have somebody out there." I'm still waiting for them to show up. So, I've informed them. That's all I can do.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, you're doing your part on it,
Yeah,
I guess.
that's what I'm saying. So, I've done my part. So,
Good.
but you if you stand at the bottom of because my driveway's got a big slant on it, but if you stand on the actual road and look up, look straight ahead and at the roof of the carport, you can the roof. You can look at the next door neighbors from his corner, go across the whole roof, his roof, my roof. Then it gets to my carport. You can actually see the dip where it's dropped down a couple of inches. It's actually noticeable, So, hey, I done my part. I told the landlord. I told him 4 years ago or 3 years ago, whenever it was I ran into it. I told him then that somebody needed to come out to double check it to make sure it's still holding the roof up. So, there we go.
Yeah, you better hope you don't go out there and trip and go to grab it for support, and the whole thing comes down on you.
It crashes on top of my. Because
You
right
can't
now,
move because of your back injuries and your neck, and
yeah.
oh boy,
And my vehicle's underneath it too, so
yeah,
fall down on top of that. And,
but you might be fine for free rent for a year.
yeah. Oh, all right. Anyway, it's we got 5 minutes to go, and I'm going to start winding it up because it's almost that time. And so, with that, have you got any closing things you want to talk about, or say, or statements, or plugs, or anything? New York Outcast. Oh, excuse me. Oh.
Not really. It's the usual. Eat a salad, keep kicking ass. Don't be a punk. All that type of stuff.
Yeah, get out there and practice with your firearm. You never know when you're going to need it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, I can't say somebody else they got any plugs because there ain't nobody else. There's only me and you. So, but I'm trying to, let me look at my calendar. Is it next week? Yes. So hopefully, if I remember, I'm going to, let me write myself a note. Do quiz monthly. Yeah, so I'm going to do it because next Wednesday is the shit. Next Wednesday is the 6th of March. So if I do it then give the answer the following first Wednesday of April. Give the answer and a new question, of course, for that month. That should work, shouldn't it? That's what I was thinking. You know, that way my swag I have will last longer. Might throw a little tiny bit extra in each one to make it better for a month, you know, and go from there. See what happens. And I would imagine the same usual suspects will enter it, which is all right with me, you know. So there we go. So I want to say thank you to everybody who stopped by. Tony's done most of the talking the last 15, 20 minutes of this podcast anyway, or show, or you, whatever you wish to call it. I don't know if anybody's still in here, but I know Two Live Moose said he was working, so he's not doing a lot of talking. So anyway, I want to say thank you all for being in here. I really do appreciate it. And hopefully, I mean, I know I was gone for a few months, so I need to build my little crowd back up that I had, you know, and before we get, you know, more people in. But it'll take time.
Emergencies.
Do what?
If we stop having emergencies,
I know. You know, I know, but life happens. You know. Oh, real quick before I close it down, guys. You remember last Wednesday I told you my cousin, my first cousin, was in the accident, rode over, hit there, and it looked like his vital signs were improving. That Wednesday night, sometime during the night, his heart gave out. He passed away.
Dang.
Had his visiting hours and funeral this past Sunday. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
And it's all from hitting a deer.
Yeah.
With no seatbelt, but
yeah. From what I understand, the actual truck rolled about 3 times. You know, and his head got smashed in the windshield. So, but it was his heart that gave out.
Yeah.
Because he had a pacemaker or a defibrillator or something on his heart, and his heart just couldn't take what was happening to him. Even though it looked like he was improving, once he started going back down, it went down fast. They said, So anyway, just wanted to let you guys know. So, all right. So with that, I want to say thank you everybody for being here and listening. And as I said last week, if you guys any topics you want discussed, just drop me an email or add them to my list. And everybody knows my email, rickslife@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. So with that, I'm going to say good night to everybody. Appreciate it. I will be back here next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, the only time zone that matters. So we'll see you all then. So good night, everybody. Good night, Sabrina.